everybody. Welcome to Anatomical Gangster. I am super excited to actually have this whole experience, but to be here with one of my dearest friends of an entire lifetime, Hilary Bilkis. Previously, when I met her, Hilary Weisberg.
Correct.
And we went to SUNY Albany together, and we were roommates.
Random roommate assignment.
Random.
And now, how many years later is this?
Too many. Let's add to 14. Maybe 12. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute. How was college for you?
Oh, well, I think senior year, the year that I was with you, was like my best year ever.
Of course, because you were with me.
I was with you. The rest of my roommates were really not. They were really not so good.
No,
they were all really bizarre.
Was I bizarre?
In the best possible way.
Yeah, what's a fond memory of us that you remember? Did you have a fond one?
Well, when we used to sit outside of our window with the guitar, you'd be playing guitar and we'd be singing.
Thank God I never fell out of that window, actually.
I know. And then the other one, do you remember that night you woke up and you were talking to some figment or spirit entity at the foot of my bed? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Really sticks out. And then there was something about some scarf that you were like trying to untie at the end of the
Yes.
show. And your pants that you would put on every morning, crunch, 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 when you went to go work out.
Oh yeah, when I went to the gym, exactly. Yeah. I mean, such an amazing. It seems like many lifetimes ago, but then again, some of those memories. It's amazing how memories can pop right back into your mind, like it just happened.
Yeah.
How long ago? It's like we're really talking about, I want to say the 90s, but it isn't.
All right, so I'm willing to admit that I graduated college in 1990.
Yes, and I graduated in 91. Yes.
So you all can do the math. But really don't do the math.
It is. I mean, we're here in Florida, and what's an interesting thing, and I hope that some of you guys listening, like if you have friends, how many friends do you have where you actually take time out of your life and go on a vacation or go get together? And it's not super frequent. Like the last time we did anything was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Was it 2020? I think it was December 2020. We went to Savannah for my husband's birthday. That was in the winter.
So we went on vacation 4 years ago to Savannah. That was one. But we've also traveled out of the country together. We went to the Dominican Republic and danced on the sand.
Oh my God! That was Angela. That was for my
Angela. Gosh, that just seems like it wasn't all that long ago, but then it's like, oh gosh. I know, like a decade has drifted by in a moment. I feel like there's so much that's happened in a decade, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the amazing things that has happened over the time that Hilary and I have known each other is that she has two incredible young men who call me Auntie Sue.
Auntie Sue.
And I love that. And these two guys, I have to tell you, are just extraordinary. They are the rarest kind of men that anybody would hope that I think that their person could turn into.
Children could grow into. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And they're both completely unique. They take on good traits of both you and Michael. Mm-hmm. But then they just are autonomous in their frequency. They are just so extraordinary, And since they've been kids, they've always had talents in writing or drawing and very creative arts, very artistic since always. I remember he'd let me draw Odie, and that's the only thing I can draw is Odie, is the dog with the big tongue. Mm-hmm. But so I've watched them write stories. I mean, Josh, Hilary's youngest, who is now not young anymore.
Not so young anymore.
He's
going to be 23 at the end of July.
Are you sure?
Sure.
But I've seen Josh, the youngest, and then Seth, your one and only oldest.
My one and only oldest.
And he's going
to be 26.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I have pictures of them when they were 7. And I said that my other friend Laura, whose daughter is now 16, I'm pretty sure she was 9 like 5 minutes ago. Yeah. So, and all these moments go by so fast, but I've been privileged to watch these guys grow up and in their 20s now, really having incredible art. Josh, again, the youngest, is animals.
Yes. Primal Spirit Gallery is Joshua's artwork. And he does spirit animal totems. And he has this really beautiful and unique way of painting animals and like the soul that he captures in them, especially in the eyes. And what I also love is that he writes poetry, or the poetry moves through him.
It moves through the animal.
It moves through the animal, as
he's doing the art, he's channeling this energy into the canvas.
Yeah, so they all have names. Like his frog is grounded, and all of his poems start with "I am grounded. I am the spirit of." And he's got over 24 or more, and he can recite them. Like, I feel like they're aspects of him.
Oh yes,
like they're definitely aspects of
him, like little particles. We had said today. I said Jaap van der Wal. Jaap van der Wal describes the body, and he's not the only one. There's other people who would speak the same way. That we are a process. That our energy, how it comes through us, and who we are, is really, ours from the point that we just borrowed a sperm and an egg, but the rest of it is all us, that we are a process within ourselves. And so I watch Josh and how he utilizes his art and his poetry into each piece. And he's so prophetic. It's unbelievable at that age. Some of the rhythmical poetry that he creates is just out of this world.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, he's written some epic poems. Yeah. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but they're like long and they're story-like and they're lyrical, and it's like,
yeah, it's
like
mind-blowing.
Some of it just below. I feel like he is,
and he's 23, by the way. Let's say this.
He's going to be 23.
I feel like he's a
Renaissance man.
Yeah, he is.
The way his art and the writing and the poetry and his heart. I mean,
and here's the big punch. He's actually one of these artists that is making a living.
He's making a living
selling his artwork down in Savannah, and he is one of the street artists. Mm-hmm. And people come and they listen to him and do all of this. Connecting. He connects people there, and it really is unbelievable.
I love watching him. I love watching him interacting with people and like reading the energy. And I'll be like, I'm getting a sense that you might like a sloth, or someone is in the theater. He's like, have you seen the peacock?
Yeah.
He just can really read people and direct them to different pieces of his art.
Yeah, just an incredible artist, and I just know that his stuff is just going to continue to evolve. And
he's got big plans.
Yeah, he really does. Yes, exactly. And we've again, his opportunities are only just scratching the surface. So the older boy of Hilary is Seth. And Seth is another enigma. I love Seth. I think that in the photographs, that some of them that I have of him, I think we look like we're from the same Stardust. Where I would think I was.
You guys have similar eyes. You have like green, gold eyes.
Yeah. And there's something about like when we smile together where, the whole face lights up.
He could almost be yours.
He could, or again, he could be like, he's related to me somehow. Like I could be an aunt, but they call me Auntie Sue. And
so you are their auntie.
I am their Auntie Sue. I love these guys so much. So, Seth also is an incredible artist who has been very successful in his work as well. And when he was younger, he would come up to my apartment, and I had this big bowl of
matchbook collection.
When people had matchbooks at all the restaurants, and the matchbooks that I would collect, I started in New York City, and some of the best restaurants, some of the best nightclubs, and so many things. And then when I wrote the book, and I got to go on a book tour, and got to go to Europe,
I got more
matchbooks. So I had this big pile of matchbooks, and Seth always had a fascination with those matchbooks. And I was like, well, if you decide to use them, like for your artwork, you'll let me know if ever you come up with an idea. And
bing, light bulb.
Yeah.
So, your collection inspired him. And one day he just had this idea that he wanted to do vintage matchbook collages. And so he started by going onto, I think, Facebook Marketplace. Because people were moving or wanted to get rid of their collections. And he bought like these giant vases and fish bowls of matches. And then, he would sort them. And then he started, picking up unique individual pieces. And it's at a point now where people that meet him in the park are like, oh my God, I have a match collection. I don't know what to do with it. So people are sending him stuff. And in Savannah in particular, people have given him, God, what's the word? So it's vintage matchbooks, but this is like classic old Savannah. These places no longer exist.
And that was the same thing. Was it just in that one fishbowl? There are places that don't exist anymore in New York City either, right?
Right.
So really iconic. But these people who are now giving him these matchbooks, he has a collection of them, and so he's got some from New York,
multiple
Chicago.
things, New York, Chicago. Oh my goodness.
Was it Paris?
I don't know. I know he has Charleston. Different cities, different themes, like Western theme or classic Americana, Chinese restaurants, Italian restaurants, steakhouses. He's got a gay.
Right. So he's categorizing.
Yeah, he's got all different sorts of themes, including some with just specific colors. The biggest seller is the pink one. People love the pink one, especially since the Barbie movie came out.
Oh, sure.
They love his pink collage. Animals. He's got just all different themes.
Well, and what's exciting for me is what's sitting here. I haven't opened it up yet. Though. This is one of the true collections. So.
Right. It's the actual collection, not a print.
Exactly. The actual collage, not the print. I'll need
this. Oh,
this.
look. And that's his artwork, too. He made, he made matchbooks of, the different squares and other things of Savannah. And then he drew it, and then he watercolored all of them.
I'm overjoyed for this piece to hang in your home. You are the origin and inspiration for my matchbook art adventure. My God, I could not be more thankful of getting to live and work as an artist for myself, and it's been unbelievably rewarding. This piece is the story of me, your eternal love and joy.
Oh, thank you. That's a cute card.
Oh my God, I love you even more now than I could ever. Oh my gosh. What the hell?
That's so good.
Seth, how freaking amazing is that? Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me go like this. Look at these. Oh my gosh. So amazing. What an incredible work of art. I'm so excited to have this. I think this will also help me with the design of my house, because I renovating my house right now. So some of these colors and styles and designs, unbelievable. So
it's my first time seeing it. So yeah.
I mean, honestly, you're a great mother. Watching you, and we've talked a lot about some really powerful things, like your kids had issues post vaccination, right? You were a parent that noticed a problem. Yeah,
with my oldest.
With Seth,
with
right?
My oldest.
How old was he?
He was not yet. He was a little over 2. He was a little over 2, and I just remember him. Everything, like looking back in hindsight, in the rearview mirror, I could see things that I didn't know then, being a first-time mom. But I remember he had the DTaP and a polio together. And within days, he had these like really dark circles under his eyes. And his color was wrong. He's like gray-green and lethargic. And I just remember him sitting at the dining room table, and I was looking at him. I was standing in the living room. I kid you not, I heard God say to me, "Stop now or you're going to lose him." And I didn't know what that meant, like what losing him would mean.
Right.
But I stopped. And there were things that I learned later on, signs of sensory processing, integration,
right.
and other sorts of things.
And look at him now.
I mean, we did a lot. There was chiropractic, there was detoxing, eliminating gluten, eliminating dairy, going to more whole foods. And
now also, here's a great pause here. Is not only is Hilary a great mom and has gone through really incredible things with your kids, but is also a colleague, a body worker, cranial work, visceral, and you also work with pediatrics. I mean, I remember years ago taking that first peds course with you.
Oh my God. I was so scared during that peds course. I feel like I hadn't fully come into my own or really trusted my intuition. But I need to tell you that you have been an inspiration for me, yes, in terms of, the bodywork field. You're always somebody that I looked up to. I always wanted to learn more, just to keep up with that brain of yours.
Now it is always thinking.
But yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey considering, I was an English major and a criminal justice minor, and you
were theater arts and physical education.
And here we are both working in the healing arts.
It's true. And how we come to it also, for me, what really shifted me from fitness to wellness is pain. Right? I had a pain journey, and I kind of started asking that question, like, why is it when you seem relatively healthy, like shit goes wrong, and you're like, well, how do you fix this stuff? And you realize that there's, I guess that's what happens as you age, right? Is you actually get dumber as you get older because you realize, shit, I don't know anything. And I'm like running out of time here, like I'm over 50. I got so much to learn. Luckily, technology is bringing information in much faster.
And I also feel like with our fields, we're getting to take a peek into prevention, and how addressing our tissues, addressing our trauma, right, and all that other stuff. I mean, how all of that is stored in the body. What do they say? The issues are in the tissue.
Right, the body keeps score.
And the body keeps score. So if you're not really looking at what you're holding and what you've been through, and I feel like people get so weirded out by the word trauma because
everybody's very traumatized also right now.
Well, especially right now. But like, it doesn't have to be like you were like physically abused and beaten.
Correct.
You could have been made fun of when you were 5 years old, and that landed as an assault and a trauma.
Of course, right? or you could be in my second book, in Male Performance. I talk about some of us have an assault that happens. There's this one moment and there's a chain of events. There's other people who are living in abusive relationships and it's just a slow bleed of this. Some of it is like psychological warfare, sociopathy, you know, where you're just like, what's happening? You know, and I mean, I've had the experience where you're just feeling conned by what's going on, but even that can be trauma over time. But it's a slower bleed of it is the best word.
Right, and it's like, you know, who can you trust? You know, if like you feel like you've been lied to and all that other stuff. And it's interesting the way it shows up in people's bodies, especially like a lot of my clients are women and they come to me saying, well, I've been to the doctor and everything is normal.
Do you think
work is normal?
Do you think that women have more stored trauma than men?
I think women are more willing to unwind and allow themselves to feel. I think there are more men moving into that space.
What do you think holds? I mean, I'm curious. Like as a body worker, right? What do you think holds a person back? Male, female, whatever they, she's, he's, we's, whatever the human. What do you think it is? Oftentimes, that's inhibiting a human from the forward motion of their frequency, their form, their being. Because I don't mean just the physical body, right? You know, like we're all just spirits occupying bodies and utilizing minds to have a human experience. And so a lot of us we even talked about that today. People get really tied up with their physical form. And it's like, you're not going to take it with you. How are you feeling? Forget the physical. Like, how about the emotional form? How about the ethereal form of you, right?
I just feel like so many people aren't even
there
connected, like with themselves. And in the world that we're living in, you know, everything is very immediate gratification. Everybody is very busy. Like nobody seems to have time to be still, right? To be still and really bring themselves inside. And it can be really scary to bring yourself inside and feel, you know,
it's like sometimes it's dark and ugly in there. It's like, I don't want to go in there. You're asking me to give myself permission to get into my body and sense what I feel.
Well, I remember seeing someone for my own work, and I mean, she said to me, she's like, you are hardly in your body. You're very ethereal. You're like out here. And she brought me in, and it felt heavy. Like, it felt heavy. But then it felt grounding, and then it felt solid. And, you know, it took a little time to get used to. And, you know, was I not in because of trauma? Yeah, maybe. But was I also not in because, you know, being a light worker and being empathic and being highly sensitive and just picking up on so many things? You know, sometimes it's easier to be out there because you get the bigger picture where we're more limited, you know, I think when we're in physical form.
Agreed. I mean, it's incredible, you know, honestly, I feel like, again, very grateful to have a friend like you who is just consistently on a very awakened journey, both as a mom, as a woman, as a therapist, a healer, and again, just a spirit. You know, you just, you are I think the epitome of forward progression.
Oh, thank you.
And I really do, you know, like, and again, you're leaving a trail behind you that just has rainbows and sparkles and unicorns.
Rainbows and sparkles.
We were in the unicorn session today. We were at
Animal Kingdom.
At Animal Kingdom, and yesterday we went to Epcot. So we're here, kind of just
doing a lot of walking.
Yes, 17,000 steps today.
Oh my goodness!
Good about that. 2,000 calories right out. We're going to go have a little bit of dinner.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I just want to go back to one thing because you mentioned the babies.
Yes.
People say, why do babies need cranial sacral therapy? Because it is a rough journey. Number one.
Yeah, you got a big head that's got to come out of this very small hole.
I think all babies.
Or women who have to push their hole very big, too. That's a big centimeter change to get this head to come out, and then all those bones have to squish together. That's why your kid's got a cone head sometimes, and they kind of pop back out. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like all kids need chiropractic and craniosacral therapy.
I think it's just good for all humans too. And I think a lot of people have never even had a massage where they think that all body work is the same, but there's so many different modalities. I mean, I've been treated by, I don't even know, into the hundreds of practitioners, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, golfers, whatever, and more, because I'm curious to explore my being by going in and healing myself. Like anytime I've been hurt, and I've definitely I've had some fucked up shit happen to my body. It's true, and all people have, right?
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who's also has a method where I'm always purporting, to live pain-free. And I say, well, now listen, when we say these words, I don't mean like never feel pain, because pain is a part of life. It's actually a great motivator sometimes. When things go wrong, as they usually will.
Yeah, that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you explore.
That's it. It makes you slow down for a moment and take action, right? Like whether it's like, it's suddenly I have a mark on me, and I have to make that correlation of like, what might that be? But that's it, is that sometimes stuff is happening to us and we're not noticing it. And it is like an accumulative tension and stress. So, you're looking at an iceberg and it looks small, but underneath it's just so big. And somebody like Gil Hadley always talking about, the onion tree. You got to peel away thin layers sometimes to get to the core.
And I think it's also amazing how much, energy we can store, not just our own, but from other people. I tend to attract a lot of empaths and highly sensitive because, I am one. So, people can come in, it feels like they're not alone.
Yep.
Like they're completely stressed out. They're carrying everybody's energy with them. And just the simple act of being able to connect with their physical and energetic body and remove some of that energy can do so much to settle a nervous system and make people feel calmer, lighter, more grounded,
more at peace. Less suffering.
Right. And the light, that's my favorite part. It's just like the light that comes on in people's eyes at the end of a session.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I've been so blessed to have just incredible body work done to me. And I have worked with so many great practitioners who have gotten me out of those moments of, uh-oh.
Do you remember when I had the concussion?
Yes.
Right? I had to drive into New York. Sue did the most amazing work on me. And that was like the big, because, when you've been doing the work for a while, you need someone who's at the same level or above you. And where I was in New Jersey, I was one of the, in air quotes, senior therapists. Other people tend to dabble.
She's committed. It's a practice.
It's a practice. I have a couple modalities, but I'm not like a class collector.
Yes, oh my gosh, class collecting.
Right? They go from one to one to one, and they never get good at anything.
That's it. You have to work on hundreds of people and
to really get it.
To really get it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there's my phone. But I remember, I got derailed by the dang. It was something with the concussion and the work that you did, the touching the brain class.
Oh yeah. I know, mind blowing, right?
Mind blowing, because you look and you watch and it looks like nothing is happening. It almost looks like the therapist is falling asleep. The people on the table were definitely sleeping. I was in one class, all the men were snoring.
Yeah,
it was hysterical. I'm like, oh my God, can you please stop snoring so I can settle in? But that class blew my mind, and the visceral stuff.
Yeah,
because
I think Jean-Pierre Barrel's work is probably one of the more profound ones for me.
Pivotal. I feel like
pivotal
it's
for me. Yeah, for sure.
For me, because while I love the cranial work and it's amazing, the visceral work gives us direct ways to do things so we can help the body shift more quickly versus sitting for half an hour.
Yeah. And I have to say, I think I learned a lot from the pediatric courses because what they do is, as much as we're talking about babies, it really informs you of, you were a baby, right? You were a baby. And so as you start to understand that, I feel like I have a little more local listening skills, right? Like I would slow down a lot more at the beginning of sessions. I would really kind of attune myself to what I was thinking and why would I all of a sudden like these things pop in my head? We talked about that today too, like where you're working on somebody and you're like, I know you had breast cancer and stuff, but like when you were a baby, like did you have an abdominal surgery? And they're like, yeah, I had a mesh, right? And
I once had somebody said, did you ever have a spiral fracture of your left tibia? Like they looked at me like, sure. How did you know that? I'm like, I don't know, I felt it, I saw it.
Yeah.
The babies though are incredible. Like the way
they unwind themselves.
Right, they unwind themselves. They can get like talking babbling, but they get really still when they're working through something. I had these little girls recently, they get really still. The eyebrow goes up, they're like, you got something there. And then the smile when things release.
Or you see their breath all of a sudden.
Yeah. But then they look at you.
Yeah.
The way that they look at you.
What's that?
Oh, it is
so incredible. Babies are very informative on just the opportunity where, time over tension overload, they haven't been on the planet that long. So their bodies can really shape shift,
right?
I think in a very unique way compared to an adult, because your body is just in a completely different.
They really release so quickly.
Different process. You
exactly.
are a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy of yourself over the years. They say that every 7 years it's like a new carbon copy. So we're like so carbon copied, we keep taking it. We're like kind of looking like ourselves, but then again, I looked at a picture of myself 20 years ago and I was like, well, there's quite a bit of difference. Just a little. But the spirit in those eyes, no matter if I look at a picture of me when I'm 7 or, 47 and well now going into that mid-50s place. I don't know, but I don't want to talk about it, this menopause thing. I think that's another thing we were talking about. Menopause. Let's talk about menopause for half a second. I don't like it. I would like to buy a vowel and pass my term, but I am a female, and so the big question comes in about hormone replacement. And, for me, I all of a sudden started having symptoms like, falling asleep became a thing where I'm like, okay, like, and see, let's go to sleep. And I never in my life, I'm a person, I go to, when it goes at 10 o'clock, I wake up at 7.
You were out.
10 minutes, I'd be sleeping and then sound like a lot of really deep sleep. And as I've gotten, into menopause, I'm noticing my deep sleep is slacking and my latency is terrible.
Right. So, we talked about hindsight, looking back in the rearview mirror. When I was about 48, I was struggling so bad. Like, I was in the worst possible health ever. I had Epstein-Barr.
I've been diagnosed with that in my blood work. They're like, you got Epstein-Barr. I'm like, I think we all have Epstein-Barr, but like, does it react or not?
Sitting up was hard. Like, I had an active case. Sitting up was hard. I was just exhausted all the time. I wasn't sleeping well. And now looking back, I was in the throes of perimenopause. The hot flashes, anxiety, depression. What else?
This was perimenopause.
Still
having your period, but is your period now a little more irregular?
Right
heavier?
now?
No.
Oh, then?
When you had perimenopause?
Oh, God, who the hell remembers?
I did. Look, I was 28. I think it was 28 to 32, like 28 to 32. And then all of a sudden it was once every 3 months and then it stopped.
I think mine were more. Yeah, I think mine were more frequent, and then they got longer.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. I think that has to do with the estrogen fluctuations that happen, and it's something that's not researched enough. I don't think that they're researching enough about how fascia, and that's why so many women get like your joints start feeling kind of stiff, right? So estrogen, progesterone replacement, hormone replacement therapy, right? So I was even given the bottles, but I sort of feel like, shouldn't I be like really with an endocrinologist and like, testing my blood, or like, how do you know? And they're just like, just go by feel. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm so scared.
Well, you've seen a functional medicine practitioner?
I do. I know. I mean, I have a functional medicine doctor, and she's like, the thing is, once you start taking them, you can't just like go off of them, because like your body can really slip down.
See, I haven't gotten there yet. We're trying to do some things with like one particular supplement, but if that doesn't work, I'm going to look into that, like maybe the patches or something. But what I wanted to circle back, that right, hindsight, when I was struggling with all of those things, I also was working in mold. Had no idea, right? So that was causing my office.
Yeah.
And I think almost every office I had may have had mold. I had gone on retreats. There was mold. So my body burden bucket was overflowing. I found out I was a poor methylator. I wasn't detoxing properly. So I had all these things going on. But the one thing that I changed that really started to make a difference was this reducing my oxidative stress with activation.
Right.
And I'm telling you, within 5 months.
And this is so activation is a Protandim product.
It's the product is called Protandim. The company is LifeVantage. Activation means using herbs, small amounts of plants, essentially, in very specific ratios, which are like 17 times more powerful than taking the individual herbs themselves. So it's like, imagine your house is on fire and you're throwing Dixie cups of water at it, because that's what taking regular antioxidants is going to do.
Right, you don't know what you're taking.
This is turning on your whole house sprinkler system. And at the 5-month mark, because we say 1 month per decade of life, to try it, right? Because it takes all that time for your oxidative stress and inflammation to accumulate. It's going to take that amount of time for it to go down. But by 5 months, I realized I wasn't having I wasn't having all of those symptoms anymore. Did it get rid of everything? No, there were still some things, but I felt
better,
functional for the first time in months. And it's been 5 years. And even though there's some still things that need tweaking, I feel better now in double nickels than I did at I know.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
I know, it's crazy.
I don't know. Well, I think oxidative stress and inflammation.
I think it's a big thing.
A big thing.
Yeah. And I also think that, blood sugar balance, get my friend Mark McDonald, big shout out to him.
Blood sugar is huge.
Blood sugar. And so blood sugar also with hormones, we don't really make the association, but, if your gut health isn't great, you're going to have more symptoms. And so really getting a handle, like leaky gut, all these other things that can happen.
And so many people have leaky gut.
It's so many. And
because it's the glyphosate in the food. The Roundup was literally used to clean shit out of pipes.
Yeah.
Not actual shit.
But even people, who are, you've really got to be mindful of your labels. Like even the alcohol sugar, right? All these keto things, I would stay away from that. I think that kind of stuff can cause leaky gut. So I don't think that that's a great thing either. But my point was that, making sure your gut health, I was using a product I've just started called Stem Regen. And I really feel like when I take it consistently after about a week or two, I really feel like I'm sleeping better, things like that, like things start to improve. So that's been happening for me, of just trying to, and also getting to sleep on time and all these things. Which last night did not happen.
No, last night too. We're both working on 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, and I can't wait to have dinner. But, I think that all of these things that we're talking about, is kind of this amalgamation of amazing, memories and life and things that are, I guess, creating wisdom, right? And I think that's the beauty of going through all these things, is this incredible wisdom and, an incredible life. I'm just grateful to be on the journey with you. I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. And for all of you who have enjoyed this conversation, make sure that you subscribe to the page. And we're Anatomical Gangsters. Peace out.
Peace out.